Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. Just to introduce ourselves to the audience, people that might be listening or watching, I am Brittany Castillo. I'm a photographer, and I'm here with my friends and colleagues. We have Lindsay with Digital Wunderland and Cherish with Divine Inspirations Planning and Florals, and the beautiful Laura with the Atrium.
Oh, yes, look at it.
And then at the Atrium, you're co-owner and the venue coordinator, correct?
Correct.
Which we did touch base on a past episode about the difference of venue coordinator and day
an
of.
Actual coordinator.
Yeah, and an actual coordinator.
Event management, coordination, yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
so we'll touch back on that later. You guys can look at a past episode if you'd like. But I'd love to just jump right in and hear from you, Cherish, on what you're seeing as far as trends and what we're looking at here for 2026, 2027, what you're seeing, florals, colors, just all the decor, all the things.
Yeah. There's quite a few things that are coming out as far as trends, but one of the big ones is draping. You're going to see it everywhere, on everything, in every way that you can imagine, which is kind of cool because it gives a lot of texture. You can use color with it, and it kind of limits some of the things that you have to put on a table as well, because they're doing draping on the tables and things like that. As a matter of fact, we're doing a big styled shoot coming up here, and we are going to be using some draping just to kind of tie it in. And then as far as colors, we're kind of going back a little bit to some greens and whites, but in a different way, more of a modern way, I would say, with greens and whites. Kind of elevated florals, where they're climbing up, things like that. Burgundies, again, are still in. Some of those other colors, deep colors are really in. Those jewel tones are in. And then white.
Yeah, well.
You
White.
can't get away with
Always
white,
whites and
right?
neutrals.
I know.
Yeah.
The whites and neutrals, mochas, yeah.
I love those. And I've seen a lot on Instagram. Probably you guys have too, the use of fruit and things figs and citrus. And have you been doing a lot of that?
I've done some of it, yes.
Okay.
Some of the fruits. It really kind of depends, I think, on the season, the area you're in as well, and how much they want to spend.
Yeah.
Makes a total difference.
Yes.
Talking about what you spend, I mean, your budget is kind of a roadmap of the experiences and the memories that you're going to create on your wedding day. And I get that not everybody has the same budget. People want the best that they can have for the money that they have.
Totally.
And if that means if your parents are helping you or you just have the means and you can have a luxury, $150,000 plus wedding, great, but other people don't really have that. Here in Wilmington, what are you seeing as the kind of average that people are spending on weddings?
Yeah, average, I would say between 70 to sometimes 80, 100, something like that is usually the average that we see.
And what about you at the Atrium?
So the Atrium, we're considered more of a lower to moderate budget venue. So you really can come in with a, $25,000 to $45,000 budget and have a great wedding because the decor is all pretty much there for you with all the natural greenery. It's such a pretty backdrop as is that you don't have to do much to really elevate the space.
You don't need rental chairs for the ceremony.
No, we provide, tables and chairs for 100 people and everything kind of matches the venue with the benches, for the ceremony. You've got so much there that you're not really focusing on. Now you can. Certainly people have come in and added draping and, Cherish did an amazing Lord of the Rings themed wedding for her daughter. And that was, that was super cool. So people, you really can elevate the space, but you don't have to. So I would say we're more on the lower to moderate budget end.
Yeah. And so Cherish, what did you say, $70,000 to $100,000 wedding? What does that look like? How does that break down? Because you're a planner and you really do see all the numbers. Me and Lindsay see the photography numbers because we're both photographers, but where do you see the breakdown between venue and where people are spending their money and what people can expect to pay?
Yeah, good. So obviously guest count is huge when it comes to what you're going to be able to do with that number. So I would say you're going to get the most bang for your buck staying at 100 or less for that budget. But you want to get your top 3 priorities when it comes to what you want to spend. So if you really love a venue, then you want to put your money towards that venue. And you can put in a lot of rentals. You can still do maybe a band. You can still do some great catering. But if your numbers or if your guest count is higher, like at the 150 mark, you're going to have to cut back in places. And I hate to say that with, $70,000 to $100,000, but that's just the reality of where budgets are right now. So you can still have a good floral budget with that if your guest count matches that budget. So,
but every person, that's more food, that's more rentals, that's more alcohol. So I mean, have a dry wedding, save a bunch of money.
But who wants that?
No one will come.
Or just beer and wine, maybe like the lower tier.
Yes, beer and wine and a signature cocktail. Maybe there are definitely ways to make cuts.
You can make cuts, and maybe you don't need the like beautiful display of food. You just want like really good food. I mean. That's again where you've got to decide what your priority is. If your priority is decor, you want your wedding to look beautiful, then we need to put our money toward that and cut back in other places.
So to take, let's say, a venue like Wrightsville Manor, for instance, in May on a Saturday with 120 people, what is someone looking to spend mid-range? About 80,000, like you said.
At least 80,000, yes.
Now, can you plan it for a Monday or a off-season date and get decent discounts?
Yeah, absolutely. Like anything between usually like Sunday to Thursday is going to be like the lower end of, prices for venues. I don't know that I can speak to a lot of other things when it comes to that, but definitely venue prices are less expensive when it comes to that.
Photographers, I mean, you would give a deal for a Monday, right?
Yeah, Mondays, but when it starts getting like Thursdays and Fridays, I always look at it this way. If I'm going to book something, regardless if it's a Thursday or a Sunday, we're still doing the same amount of work, right? You know what I mean? Exactly. But if it's coming up in a couple months and it's not booked and it's, but I'm like, I might get, work with you a little bit on that, but
there is something to that too, though. And I think, if you can afford to kind of do something, I'm not saying last minute, but like, within 3 months or so, you will get a lot of discounts in terms of venue wise, from the venue standpoint. If we have not booked that date, I am more inclined to offer somebody a discount. Now, I do tell people if they book on the short term to reach out to your priority caterers, to your planner or somebody from the preferred vendor list in terms of coordinating to make sure they have it available. But if there is something to that last minute, if you don't have a huge priority of like, I have to have this vendor, if you're willing to kind of, be flexible, there is little something to saving money that way too.
Well, and somewhere like the Atrium or Wrightsville Manor or Malachi or any of these like high, in demand places, realistically, like your Saturdays are probably completely booked up in the spring and the fall of this year. So, I mean, if you are going to plan something last minute, you are going to have to look at weekdays.
Absolutely.
Saturdays go like that.
Oh yeah. I still have, if I have someone coming in looking for an October Saturday, I'm like,
that was booked 6 months ago. I'm sorry.
I do actually have Halloween open, but it takes a special person to do a
Yes, I
Halloween
know.
event.
That is very true.
Yeah. Well, and then looping back into, you were talking about the bar and things like that, and I know we talked about it a little bit before we came in here. The timeline. Let's talk a little bit about the timeline and what people need to understand about like venue spaces. You usually give you a bar allotment. Is that what you guys call it?
Standard. So our standard bar hours with the bar package is 4 hours.
Okay.
You can add on a fifth, but that's it. That's where we draw the line.
And that's typical for most venues.
That is typical for most venues.
So if someone comes in and they're like, okay, I want to have a 3:00 ceremony and a 10:00 send off, there's going to be hours without alcohol, and it's just too long.
It's
right?
way too long. Yeah, way too long.
Nobody wants to.
You don't want to photograph that at the end of the night.
And I don't think couples understand. Do you find this too? Couples. So with the Atrium, we have to end at 10:00. And then sometimes I'll get some pushback on couples being like, "Oh, that's so early."
The noise ordinance for the city.
Yes, but they're like, "Oh, that's so early." I'm like, you don't understand how exhausted you're going to be. Like, I know you think that you're going to want to party all night with your friends. You're going to be beat and you're going to want to go home and you're going to want to just have nobody else around. Yeah. But your guests can go out afterwards, so you don't need to have a 6-hour reception.
And they can also plan like an after party. A lot of people do like, hey, we're all going to meet at this bar, so that's an option 100%. There too.
So yes, a longer reception is not a better reception. And I think couples need to understand that.
I think they get in this like mindset of like, oh, we want to maximize our time and maximize the bang we're getting for our buck. But realistically, like most of your guests aren't even going to stay for the send off at that point.
No, they're exhausted too.
Yeah. So what are the top things that, I mean, you and I probably go over timeline quite a bit too with our clients because Lindsay and I are very similar. We're both, I don't want to say type A, but we are definitely.
I feel like that's this whole table.
We're all type A.
Yeah, that is very true.
But I mean, we work so good together. I feel like in the sense that we do have the same understanding. But and you guys are obviously great planners, coordinators, timeline creators, but you sometimes get some planners that just completely forget how long family portraits take, what time golden hour is. So I know that you and I both kind of have our hands in the timelines as it's starting.
Yes. And also I always say, look, a timeline's a guideline. If something runs 10, 15 minutes late, but this is the thing, it's sort of like have a buffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't say, hey, makeup's done at 2 and we're starting pictures at 2:10. Hey, sometimes it lasts longer and then all of a sudden your whole day is just, you know.
Yep.
Have you ever had to where like the bride doesn't like her makeup and like they have to redo it?
Never. What do you mean?
Never happened.
Yeah, never
I'm
at
sorry,
all.
what? We're starting all over again?
Yes.
Well, that's why I always tell brides, I'm like, don't be the last one.
No.
Yeah.
Be like the second or third to last one or something like that. But God forbid your bridesmaid or maid of honor has to go out with mascara she put on herself. Who cares? She's in, you know, some photos,
She's
but
not
you're
the star
in
of the show.
Every photo.
So,
and always the importance of that too. What I tell brides, a great time to test that out is your engagement session.
Yeah.
Get your trial done
Get
for
your
your
trial
hair.
done,
Get your
yes.
trial done
Yep.
for your makeup. You'll see what it looks like on camera. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And you feel more
Yes.
comfortable in your skin. Some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so
Exactly.
much, but it
But
looks
then
beautiful.
when you see it photographed, you're like, oh, actually, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, like you do need a little bit more color, I feel like. When
Definitely.
you're- at least for blush, where I draw the line, which I had an event one time at Malachi Meadows. It was like an open house, and one of the people, the hair and makeup girl, was like, "Oh, I'll do your makeup," and I was like, "Great," but I'm obviously like a no makeup girl, right?
Yeah.
So she does my makeup, and she's like, "How does it look?" I'm like, "Oh, it looks pretty good." And she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna like do a couple last finishing touches," and the finishing touches were like brown lip liner.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I was really embracing my last name, like Hispanic. I was, and like the eyebrows, and I actually have a photo in my phone, like of me, like when I said
You're
to my
like,
friends,
wow.
what is happening? My kids cried when I went home.
They're like, what are you doing, Mom?
So, and mind you, like maybe it was maybe it looked good, but it didn't look like me, and I didn't
Yeah.
feel comfortable.
Yes.
So that's another
That is
important
key.
thing
Yeah.
to remember. That
Yeah.
even though everyone's like, you look great, you look great like this, if you don't feel comfortable, you know, do what makes you feel good.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to show up in your
Yeah.
photos. You don't feel comfortable, then you're going to be able to
Absolutely.
see
I
that.
had a bride who she never wears makeup, and for her wedding, she did not wear a stitch of makeup.
Oh.
Nothing. No
Wow.
mascara, nothing. And she said, this is how I feel comfortable.
Cool.
I have never worn makeup. I never want to wear makeup. This is how my husband knows me, and this is what I want to look like. And I was like, great.
What a blessing
you
to
do
have
you,
skin like
sister.
that. I mean,
Exactly.
gosh, I know.
Yes,
Right?
yes. She was very young.
Makes a little bit of a difference
Had
there,
the baby
you know.
skin.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was like, yeah, get it, sister. I love that.
Yeah.
She was so confident in who she knew she wanted to show up as on her wedding day herself. And it was amazing to see. But I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Not even just like a little bit. Like,
I mean, a
'cause
little bit of mascara can go a long
yeah,
way.
in
Yeah.
photographs, you know, you do look different in photographs without makeup. And she was like, nope, this is it. And she loved it. She loved every bit of it.
Well,
So-
that's awesome though. At least that being authentic, I
Yeah.
feel like is like one of the main things.
Absolutely.
You're taking photos and video, and if you feel comfortable, it's just going to show up even more.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
I always try to remind brides, like, this is your wedding day. Like,
Mhm.
it should be you. You know, not
They should be reminded a lot of you.
Exactly.
Sometimes there's family
Yes.
members.
I think
or
at every
they-
step you need to remind
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah.
Every step.
all through the entire planning process, they'll be like, so and so said this. What about this? I'm like, okay, so again, we're gonna go back to it's your wedding.
Mhm.
What do
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
do? You
Well,
know,
there is all the like perceived pressure, right?
Yes.
Like you said, like it's our job as the professionals to remind them that.
Yeah.
But there is the perceived pressure of this is what my mom wants. This is what my sister did for me, so now I have to do it for her. Oh, I was a bridesmaid in all of these girls' weddings, so now I need 20 bridesmaids.
Oh gosh.
First, you
no.
know?
Don't do it.
Not everybody needs to be the wedding.
I do love that we're trending towards smaller bridal
Yes.
weddings. I am getting
Yes.
some that are like
Yes,
9, 10.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's rare now.
it's rare.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
rare.
It's more like 3, 4.
Yes,
I feel like
or
that's
I'm
more.
even seeing no,
Zero,
I don't want
zero.
anybody. We just or we have best man, maid of honor, but
Yeah.
we want all the girlfriends to come get ready with us, or
Yes.
whoever,
Yeah.
all
Or
the
sit
friends
at
to
the
come get
full
ready.
table.
Yes,
Exactly,
yes,
yeah.
but we don't want to put the pressure on them to have to buy the dress and do all these things and be on the day
And then
of.
they're all okay, and maybe I'm just like not as much of a people person. I have friends, but there's like, you know, they're better with like smaller numbers, you know, but like you're already going to be, I don't want to say stressed, but you're already going to have like high energy the day of. And do you want to be in a room full of 12 girls that are, I hate to say it, but a lot of bridesmaids like totally make it about them.
Yes.
There's a handful that don't. There's some people that truly understand the assignment, but there's other ones where I'm like, girl, this is not your day.
It's not your day. And if you have a bride that, you know, feels like I'll speak for myself. I'm kind of like this. I feel like I have to make everybody feel comfortable and like everybody, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah. And when you get that much girl energy around, like not everybody's okay. And it shouldn't be the bride's job to have to make sure everybody's okay. Yeah, exactly. It's just way more stress.
Normalize smaller bridal parties.
Definitely. And people have to understand too, for like, oh, even if you do a first look, but you're doing all these bridal party photos and such. I mean, I want an individual photo with each bridesmaid and each groomsman. I mean, you're looking at adding up 20, 25 minutes easily just for those photos. So like you want to have
trying to fit them in the wide shot. I mean, come on. We don't need 47 people in your wide shot.
We've done that.
Panoramic shot.
Exactly. We have to piece together.
Fisheye lens, like all of that. It's fine. Everything's great.
Up top of the venue looking down.
Whatever it takes for the shot.
I know you'll do it, but it's not the favorite.
Well, and you're really good at putting together, so me and Lindsay work together a lot on weddings, like if it's her friend's wedding and she wants to provide the photography, like I'll be the associate, so I see her photo list. Like she creates them and then I go and shoot them. So I know you create a very efficient photo list, which I think is so crucial because I've worked with other people, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is the photo list, and it's like all over the place. And it's not in any kind of order. Like there's no like, I mean, I think you do the same thing as me. Grandparents go first, younger children go first. And you set it up so you can just move right through it because it's nobody's favorite part of the day.
No, and that's why I always tell brides too, because at first they're like, well, we want this extended family or that, you know, and it turns into like 30 photos. I said, I know this sounds like a good idea right now, but it's not.
You're going to hate it. You're going to be
so tired. And the last thing you want to do, after the ceremony, and now, honestly, I recommend no more than 7 to 10 family photos after the ceremony because it just is exhausting. I'm like, how many variations do you really need? Like if you want extended family, do one group on his side, one group, and then you're done.
Or during the reception, do like candids.
Yes, where you can pull them out.
Soccer team, or whatever, and then just get everyone on the dance floor. Boom, go into a dance party right afterwards.
Those are the pictures you want to see anyway. You don't want to see you're not going to look back at these formal posed photos.
And how many people are really going to print those out?
Exactly.
Probably not a lot.
Yes. You know, I ask them all the time, like, how many of these are you going to actually keep and put on your wall? Like what is actually important to you? Yeah. You know, do you actually need all of these? You know, and then I say the same thing, like put them in a group, be done with it. Like you don't need to do all these individual photos.
Well, and you guys both just said something that's really powerful there. Are you really going to print these? Are these really going on your wall? And that's really important because I think we get away from that, like nowadays with everything being digital, just like, you know, I think it's so important for people to remember, like, this is the purpose, like, to hold the photos, print the photos, make an album of the photos. You know, if you, after the wedding, you can send thank you cards with some of those photos in them, or like magnets, or even just like, what have I seen recently? The ornaments. You know,
the ornaments are cute.
Those are cute.
Like little mementos.
Printing them. And we were talking about this beforehand, this trend now where everything is crooked.
Oh, I can't. You guys.
And I know like there is like the candid trend, feels like film, and sprinkling some of that in is fun.
Totally. Like a little bit more editorial and like super cool, like even pop in a direct flash and stuff during the reception. Love it. But it shouldn't be your entire album.
I think people that are newer maybe lean into the trends because they're like, oh, this is really popular right now. And so then you'll get a whole album filled with crooked, seemingly
and with awkward, TikTok and Instagram, that's what their algorithm is showing them. And so that's what they see. Ooh, this is what we need to do.
Because remember, when you print these out and put them in a frame, they are going to look awkward.
They're going to look weird. It's not going on your wall.
No,
still get the traditional shots. Because you're going to want to look back on those, 50 years from now.
I would just say, like, photography should be timeless, authentic, true to color. And look, everyone has a different editing style. Colors, I think, as far as like editing style a couple of years ago, it was sort of like dark and moody. That was sort of in more orange tinted and
or even like overly bright.
Overly bright. Because it wrecks the flowers. I was literally from the florist point of view.
People will be like, I want this bouquet. I'm like, okay, those are not real.
That's
like that is a highly edited photo. And let me so I'll go into like Google and I'll be like,
educate them.
Have to like go into the actual photos or have the Google like take the filter off. You can do that. And I'm like, okay, this is what it actually looks like.
But you spend
do
all
you
that
still
money,
like them?
right?
Yes.
But I mean, also
smart.
too, you sit there and look at the flowers. So you're going to spend all this money on your linens, on your flowers, and then when it's edited, it literally changes the color. So what is the point of that? So I think staying true to color, having your own little, sometimes my greens are a little mintier, but for the most part, everything's pretty true to color. Skin tones
are true to color.
Yes.
And maybe the greens, because digital does have a tendency to make greens like overly yellowy bright. So toning them down and bringing them to the kind of minty look is kind of gives a more film feel, but it's still very natural feeling.
Exactly.
It's never, I've never looked at your photos and been like, oh, but I know what you're talking, like some people do like overdo those little
almost like an aqua.
I'm like, why is the green blue now?
But sometimes it all changes, I just feel like depending on lighting and venue and what kind of landscape they have, I mean, it could really pull so many different colors. And you just sort of, and I'm still, how I am, but I'm sitting there on my computer for hours, editing, because I'm sort of a perfectionist because I want it to be as true to color as possible, because this is what you spent your money on. You spent money on this venue and these flowers to make it look like that,
And while there's apps now, like, AI apps where you can run photos through them, and maybe that works for the reception or in a space where it's all the same consistent lighting. But when you're taking photos outside, you do still have to touch every single photo that's edited. It's not like there's some batch button that
people
you can
do
press.
think that. People are like, don't you just have a preset and you just go boop? And I was like, I wish. I mean, gosh.
If only it was
that was the case. I'm like at 2 a.m. still on my computer, like tweaking. Or you see those things
Back
on
and forth
Instagram.
on the
I'm like one little point of orange, is anyone going to notice this? But I do.
Yes.
Or between the two photos that are very similar, you're like left,
right.
Like, your hand is changing. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. Yeah.
This is important too that you're mentioning this, because I think it comes back. I feel like we talked about this last time, but it comes back to you have to realize the value of your vendors and all the things that they're doing behind the scenes.
Oh, they don't see it.
They don't see it. Because I have people that ask me, like, oh, well, we reached out to all of the planners or all the coordinators on your list, and everybody's a lot higher than we expected them to be. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know what your expectations were, because this is your first time doing this. But yes, everyone on this list or every professional planner, photographer is worth their weight in gold,
and they're vetted.
They're vetted, but it's very important for people to understand that you are getting a professional service most of the time with, tens of 20 plus years experience from your vendors, and they're going to give you that level of service.
And they're going to be able to anticipate things that could go wrong, which is, I was going to ask you guys, I was going to ask you before, but we'll do it here. What are our years of experience? Like, I've got 12 years of doing weddings, but probably 16 of photos. But how many years of weddings do you have?
I think it's around 12-ish now. 12.
16.
Okay.
20.
Okay.
This is my 20th year.
Look at that.
Yep,
We're
20th
50
year.
years. Did I do the math right? Somebody quick.
No,
I don't do that. I'm sorry. I didn't know we were doing math on this podcast.
Not coming back again after that.
Roughly 50, I would say.
Yeah.
50 plus years.
Yeah.
Well, there's a ton of experience between all of us here. And I told myself I wouldn't bring this person up, and I'm not going to say her name, but there was someone recently in our industry that was very new and then ghosted a bunch of clients and disappeared.
Yes.
Gasp.
Yes, I know. It was.
But this person was very...
I know. I mean, it's just...
But this person was pretty new, and I remember seeing this person pop up on Instagram, and every single ad I saw on Instagram was this person. So they were clearly dumping a lot of money into advertising, but then also offering up front, if you pay 100% in full, you would get a deposit. To me, that is such a huge
discount.
You'll get a discount, you'll get a discount if you pay everything up front. And to me, that's such a huge red flag. We were talking the other day, I don't even like to be paid in full. I like my deposit.
If it seems too good to be true,
it is.
It is true. It is not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Just trust us on that.
So she's sitting here telling people, hey, if you pay in full, well, she then scammed a bunch of people and disappeared. So my advice to anyone, I mean, obviously we've got a ton of years of experience. We're vetted, but if you're looking at other vendors that may seem new, if someone asks you for more, I would say for photography, more than 50% as a deposit, red flag. I mean, I'm 20%, some people are 30, 50%, which are all just reasonable amounts. If they're asking for 100% upfront,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
It just doesn't make sense. To me, it just doesn't make sense. There are certain vendors that you do have to pay more upfront and or pay in full before the wedding, your florist, because they're actually buying goods,
Florals.
Caterer,
planning, you do have to pay me in full before the wedding.
Yeah,
well, that makes sense because you're doing all
30
the
days
work
before the wedding.
Yes,
And I don't know about you, but well, for me, we do get paid in full now, just so, and it's 3 weeks prior to the wedding.
Yeah,
so it's
which
like
is
just a
standard.
couple
Usually,
but not
usually
18
30
months.
days.
Not 18 months.
Not
No,
18
no.
months.
No.
And this is what I always tell brides too, like, oh, you require this. Well, we're getting other brides and other inquiries that we're turning down.
Mhm.
This is our way of our family making our income,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah,
keeping
you're-
sustainable. And it's sort of like, okay, we're giving this date to you.
Yes.
And if it's only 10%, they're like, oh, it's 10%, whatever, maybe
Yeah.
I'll cancel.
Yeah.
Well, then I just lose out on a whole
The
day,
day, yeah, absolutely.
Especially for, prime days and the
Well, 100%. You can't be giving away a Saturday in May, let's say, and just on a hope and a prayer that this person's not going to make other plans.
And I feel like people
exactly.
get more committed, which hopefully everyone's committed when they're, planning a wedding. But they
Things
feel
happen.
obligated. Yeah, definitely. They definitely do. But when 50%'s down, they're like, hey, I mean, this is a
This
chunk
is a
of money,
chunk,
but
yeah.
this is a commitment. And same on my part,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I mean, any money that I receive outside of the deposit before their wedding occurs, like in my contract, it's still their money. So that's why I'm like, please don't pay me until the day of the wedding or 3 weeks before or whatever. Because until as a photographer, we're not doing a ton of planning and things beforehand. We have our experience, we're giving you the day, we had the consultations and things like that. But really, a lot of the work happens
afterwards.
Literally after the wedding.
Yes.
Editing.
Yeah.
Our favorite part.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't take long at all.
just sprinkle a little sprinkle.
Just like yourself, right? Just like dispatch.
It's okay. Can you just put the button?
That's all you need to do.
Speaking about sprinkles too and weather, because we're coming into spring, I know so many brides get nervous about having outdoor weddings, which here I feel like in the spring and the fall, I mean, you have Atrium, which doesn't have a fully covered space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you even really need to you guys can just maybe change the ceremony start time by a little bit? How many
Sometimes,
times?
Wilmington weather is crazy.
You just never know.
So temperamental.
You just don't know.
You never know. I mean, living here as long as we all have lived here, we know. I mean, people ask me all the time, well, what's the weather like in this month? I'm like, your guess is as good as mine.
Right.
Even the weatherman that morning doesn't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So always having a backup plan for sure.
Always.
With the Atrium, we can, if it's just total washout day, obviously the ceremony portion of the venue is uncovered. We do not cover it. People ask, can we put a tent? Can we put a dome?
No, but you guys have the trees there. You can't.
No.
Can you put a
we cannot.
dome?
I mean,
I don't know
have
about
suggested.
that.
Can you cover it with plastic? No, we're not. Just pick another venue if you're that worried.
Well, I feel like most of your couples are so laid back. They're
Yes.
nature.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a barefoot bride recently?
Yes. Cherish's bride.
Oh my
Yes.
God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we have all kinds of people.
And usually, if it rains, it mists for a little bit. Or rains for a little bit. And then
we do have washout days. We have had multiple hurricane weddings.
I was there for one
Were you there?
tropical
Okay.
storm.
Okay, yes. So ceremony, you can do ceremony inside. Worst case scenario, ceremony inside. We have a very pretty, wooden wall.
Love that wall.
But that's a very worst case scenario. Most of the time, we can move, either seating to the ramp area or seating
That's
kind
what
of
we
dinner.
did, but you still get the greenery in
Yes,
the
you
background.
still get the
I still
greenery.
got great shots.
Well,
Absolutely.
and because there's walls on all sides, it's not like blustery, windy rain like you would get, say, if you were just out in a field at Airlie Gardens or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
Which, if you do have a wedding that is calling potentially for rain, I was going to ask you about tents. I know some people are very vehemently like, no tent, and they don't want to make the call until the very last second. What is the cutoff for building a tent into your plans?
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
I have no idea.
I've never heard of that.
Never heard of this one before. Yeah.
Yes. Especially if your wedding is anytime between April to the end of June or September to November, you just need to add on a tent. Period, end of story. You can always cancel, but most companies are going to keep that 50% deposit, but you cannot guarantee to have a tent last minute.
Yeah, you got to put it on your rental order way early in advance.
It needs to be on your rental order, and so you just need to build that into your budget.
And tents aren't all
Oh,
ugly now.
No.
I
the Sperry
center
tents.
ones.
Yes.
What are they called? Why can't I think of it?
There's the Sperry
Yes,
tent.
yeah, with the little flag on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
Yeah.
They're very expensive.
Yeah, so those are not in the budget.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Same with the clear tent. Beautiful. But just a basic tent, you can make it look pretty, but it just needs to be on your rental.
I mean, now that we were talking about draping, that's a huge way of really
huge.
elevating a regular tent.
Absolutely.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And then as a
All
photographer,
the way.
if you're going to be at a place like Sycamore Bend where the
Yes.
reception is outdoors,
Mhm.
we'd way rather have a tent because then we have something to bounce the light off of.
Mhm.
You know what I
Totally.
mean?
And the draping really helps reflect the light as well.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
popping a flash or something like that.
Elevate the colors.
And I mean, sometimes like with the tents, with like the metal poles.
Oh yeah, no,
That's not
we
cute.
just
And the
we're
fire
gonna
hydrant.
have-
I'm like,
Yeah.
zap that out,
Yep.
zap that out.
Yep.
So back to
Yes.
Signs, I hate them.
I know,
Yeah.
me too. I'm like, I'm not going to shoot that way.
yeah. So back to budget, like that's got to be in your budget.
Yeah.
A tent, and you want those poles covered.
Mhm.
Like you
Or
just
that's
need
like
them covered.
basic
like
necessity.
basic
Yeah.
necessity.
Yeah, or if that's, you really are so again, then be considerate and when you're choosing your venue to pick a place that
Absolutely.
has an indoor
Indoor
Absolutely.
option.
Yeah.
So speaking of venues, let's just chat a little bit about, obviously Atrium is one of my favorite venues. I can talk about it all the time.
It is beautiful.
But I'm going to start with Lindsay. Like, what are your top 3 venues that you've shot at lately? And, and I don't want to say cons too, but just things that like the things that you see brides loving about them, the things that might affect people's choice to choose a different venue.
Well, I think going back on the backup plan situation, some brides are like, oh my gosh, if it rains, my day's going to be ruined.
Yes. Expectations.
Have a venue that's going to be able to provide a plan B
Mhm.
is the first case scenario. I've shot a ton at, obviously, Wrightsville Manor. I've shot at the Atrium. I've shot at Bakery, 120. I've shot everywhere. But I did get to shoot this year at the Bradford in Raleigh. I know it's not Wilmington. But it was really fun because I actually did her friend's wedding, which was in Wilmington the year prior. And she's like, I just love the photos. Would you be willing to travel? And that was such a cool space. The lighting was really cool. And you know what? Sometimes it's just nice to just travel and do something different.
Yeah,
Like even
yeah.
in Milford,
Get
I've
out
done
of-
some there. Yeah, I've done a lot on the Outer Banks and rental houses and stuff like that. I just feel like at the end of the day, regardless of the venue, the bride and groom, if they feel comfortable, you're going to get great shots no matter what.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Just have like real emotion. We're going to make it relaxed. We're going to make it amazing. But when you're picking a venue, make sure my style is very light and airy. It's very true to color.
Don't make an all brick venue with black
Exactly.
ceilings.
Exactly. Because that's what. Because, there's
brewery.
Ironclad. Well, that was the
it's
whole
a
thing.
look. It's
It's
a
a look,
different.
yeah,
It's a look.
but it's dark. It's if you want that dark and moody vibe,
That's
there you
totally
go.
fine.
Yep,
And I
absolutely.
always tell brides as well, like, make sure you're looking at the way that I edit my style.
Yes.
Not that I can't shoot it Ironclad
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
but it's not going to look like a dark and moody vibe. I'm still almost more on the light area. It's going to look different than what's on my website because I usually shoot at venues that have a lot of natural light and have a lot of greenery and stuff like that. So just pay attention to what is, what you're looking for to make sure that we're aligned in that way.
and expectations
Yes,
too.
expectations are always great to talk
Yes.
about in the beginning.
Yes, 100%.
Crucial.
Yes,
Yeah.
crucial.
What about you? I know we did we do a wedding at Merrill Garden and Estates recently? It's okay to touch base on stuff outside of Wilmington. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like Wilmington
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, I'm there a lot.
I love it there. It's so
Yeah.
pretty.
I shot a wedding there a couple years ago.
Yeah, we're there a lot. It's nice because rain plan, you don't need a tent there for a
Yeah.
rain plan.
Oh, because it's all covered.
Because
up
the
there.
portico is covered, so you can do your ceremony there if we need to. You can also move your ceremony inside. So when we do a wedding there, we always talk about Plan B and Plan C.
Yeah, you
this
can
is
have all
what.
the
Yeah,
outfits.
this
Yeah.
is what-
Is it
Yes.
the venue with the palm trees?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I was like, I'm trying like
So
really
pretty.
get my
Palm
mind.
trees.
The palm trees as
The
a big
palm
row
trees.
top. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what
The
I'm
Isle of Palms.
Of course, I shot there.
The very popular Island
Yes.
of Palms, which
Yes.
is, it's so beautiful. And so that is really nice about that. And again, we have had brides that are like, I just don't want to do it inside. And I get it. But, we did have one not too long ago that I'm like, it's literally like it's monsooning. Like you can't. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. But
Branches
you can't
flying
make
by.
guests go
Yeah.
out there. And so
And also their dress and their makeup and their hair. You have to think about a lot of things that are going to be
watching through
effective.
the window.
Yes, oh yes.
Like, you're doing great, guys.
Yeah.
Good job.
We can't hear anything, but it
Yes.
looks
Your
good.
And also-
relationship can survive this storm.
That's right.
Yes, it can
That's
survive
right.
anything.
Oh my God.
Well, I always tell people too, when it does rain and stuff like that, you also have to think about your photographers and your videographers, because a lot of our equipment, are
Yes.
they weather resistant
Cannot
for
get
sure?
wet.
Like, they
Yeah.
can't sit there and just
Soaking
be getting
rain.
drenched,
I know.
You just can't.
And we did have one where it looked like it was clearing up. It was, what month is it? It just rains just out of nowhere, right? So everything looked clear. The bride and groom were like, yes, let's just keep it outside. I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Deep breath.
Okay, but like literally at this time, like there's no turning back. Like, you know, from
once I send you down the aisle,
like, there's
it is
no
done
turning back. They're like, no, we're good, even if it rains. So I'm like, I gotta talk to the photographer. So I do that, make sure they're like, we're good. We've got their weatherproofing stuff. Like, okay. And so we go out. We're at the furthest end away from the building as we can because they're walking up the Isle of Palms. I'm out there with the groomsmen. Okay, I kid you not. And it just
starts yes. I'm just like,
bottom drops out.
And the groom looks at me. He's like, is it too late? I was like, yes.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, we gotta go. And we just gotta go now. Like, and so I'm just shoving them out there. I'm like, let's go. And I'm holding the bride's dress. I'm just getting drenched, trying to hold an umbrella. They make it through. They run inside, and I'm like, okay.
Now we gotta change everything.
Here we go. Sobbing, but I don't have an extra dress. I'm just like, where's the towel?
That's happened to me before. I'm just like walking around like,
squishing everywhere.
I was like, I'm sopping wet until 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, it is what it is.
But you always packed an extra outfit after that.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I always do something in my car just in case.
And I always have extra makeup.
Yeah.
So I'm like in the bathroom fixing my makeup, all this stuff. But I talked to Liza, who's the venue owner. I was like, okay, we've got to figure something out because that was crazy.
Well, when it does, it can happen like that, just like this.
Wilmington,
it's so important to have healthy expectations, and I know there's a lot of excitement, and there can be a lot of anxiety around the wedding. So I get that brides do get really flustered, and they have this vision, and they're spending all this money on it.
I have steered people away from booking the venue, which obviously I don't like to do, but I have had two specific brides that one in particular came back and she toured multiple times. She kept on coming back. She's like, but what if it rains? What if it rains?
That's not your
and
spot.
I said, that's what I said. I was like, look, I know you. And she loved the space. She was like, I love this so much, but I'm just so worried about the rain. And I said, look, this is not going to make you feel good about the day.
No,
I was like, you need to book somewhere else, maybe a rehearsal dinner here or something that doesn't have so much pressure, but book somewhere else that you're going to not feel that crazy anxiety on the day of.
But
that's leading up to it.
Yes,
like and leading up to it.
You're
supposed to be excited, and some brides just like fixate on the weather.
If you're like, if it rains, it's over.
That's fair, and I'm sure a client would prefer that than walking into a venue situation and being told, oh, well, the chances are really low.
Right.
And just trying to sell the sale. You've been in this business long enough to know, like, if you end up convincing her to come in, and then it
rain, I would feel I would not that kind of person.
Well, exactly. Creating realistic expectations, and hey, you know what? If it's not for you, it's not for you. Right. It's not going to end our business. We're all established. If we don't get this one client or another client, it's not going to change.
Exactly. And sometimes you're just looking for the fit even as a vendor to a client.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do we vibe? Our personality's going to mesh the whole day because I'm sort of loud and a little quirky and I'm always making jokes. Like, is that going to work?
Is that good for you?
Is that good for you? Guys, I don't know. My personality's really like, but I feel like that's important to always connect prior, have the talk, have the consultation. Are we going to be able to connect?
We're a team. All your vendors are a team. And most of the time we establish a relationship. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends, how many of my former clients are my friends now. We want that as vendors. We want to, for the most part, have a relationship with the clients.
Well, and as coordinators, you're holding their hand leading up to the day too.
And their therapist and their mediator for their family issues. Their hype woman. I mean, we wear many hats.
Walking everybody from Harley, whatever it is that we have to be.
Keeping the vibes high all day long.
Yeah. And family dynamics are a total thing that I think a lot of people, they're so used to their family being the way it is and don't think that say their parents are divorced and they're used to it. They've been dealing with this for 20 years, but maybe this is the first time mom and dad are going to see each other since the courtroom or something, and that doesn't. I'm sorry, but I hope not. But I mean, that would be my situation. So having, just knowing that these people there's so many emotions on the day of, and then you're around all these people.
So if there's going to be anything bad, it's going to likely come out. Just like if there's anything good, you bring out the best of the people too, but you also can bring out the worst.
With a 5 or 6 hour bar.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you just don't
divorced parents are the number one reason we don't allow a 6-hour.
Yeah, exactly. Valid.
It's one of the reasons.
Oh my God.
Well, and you have to ask that before, like, going into, like, what family dynamics do I need to know about before we get to your wedding day?
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised what people share. I mean, sometimes you're like, is this a therapy session?
I'm totally down with that.
Me too. I love all the info.
Uncle Joe should not have any alcohol whatsoever.
Exactly.
Can you please send me a photo of Uncle Joe?
Yes. Yep. I need to know when he's picture for the bartender. We've done that.
Yes.
The bartender has to
I'm not joking.
ask them, who is this person?
Yeah.
You have to cut them off after 2 drinks, or they can't have scotch,
Or
it's,
half shots.
Give them just a little bit.
Are you allowed to do shots at the bar?
We are not.
Okay, that's what I said.
I think she means when you're pouring.
Well, or like,
clearly
can I
don't
have
drink
tequila on the ice, please? You know,
yes.
it's like,
And they ask
people
for
do
it.
that. Yeah, you know, ask for it.
With some water in it.
Yeah. We will give you 1 or 2, but then after that,
you're like, no,
Some people really just can't handle their alcohol. I know we talked about this in one of the past times that we came together, but it really is a big subject because it's a big part of your budget. Okay, it is a big part of your budget, and then also most people have an open bar, and then you're inviting 100 and something people. Not everyone has the same.
Self-control? Is that what
self-control tolerance.
Self-control tolerance, all of that. People go ham.
And it's great. They're like, oh my gosh, I can just get as many drinks as I want.
Yes.
This is amazing. And they just take full advantage.
I did cut a bridesmaid off.
We've cut people off,
I mean, you
have to. It's a responsibility.
She couldn't even walk. Like, her girls were carrying her, and then she threw up.
No! I
go to the bartender. I was like, no more. She cannot have any more. He's like, you have to be I was like, you need to just. She cannot have any more. She will die.
She is done.
We will cut people off with the quickness.
She came up to me. She's like, the bartender said you cut me off. I was like, yeah, sweetheart, you can't walk straight. And she's like, I threw up. I'm fine. I was like, that's the very reason we know you're not fine.
Impressive, but
In fact, that's why your determination. However, this is not the place.
That is sheer resilience right there.
Glared at me.
That was hilarious.
All night.
She's probably just like,
and then I guarantee the next day she didn't remember it.
No, probably most likely.
The worst part is when you have a situation like that. I think I heard of a situation like that at a different venue, different planner, different situation, but the groom was the one that needed to be cut off. And he was mad. I'm paying. And again, who knows how he got to that? And some people are on medications too, like for things that they can interact with. So, maybe one drink's fine and they have a couple more and then it just compounds if they have like compromised liver function. Hits them all at once.
Because there's so much adrenaline on the day of. There's so many emotions. You're tired. You probably haven't slept in days. You're probably having, a crazy amount of caffeine just to keep you on level 10. And then you're taking pills. And then it's a recipe for disaster.
I mean, I
sounds like I've not eaten enough.
Yes, they haven't eaten. Yeah, for sure, the bride. Yeah.
Another, let's talk about, just little random tidbits that we would give to brides as far as tips. And one of them we talked about for ourselves. Bring an extra pair of shoes, bring an extra dress, which I've definitely talked about before. But Lindsay, have you ever seen, the Jewish dance where they put them on the chairs?
Oh, yes, for sure, definitely.
I had a bride that her entire dress, broke up the back from doing that.
That's why we carry safety pins, right?
So, and she had a reception dress that exactly. So even if it's your rehearsal dinner dress, bring something.
I think it's fun, though, and people, brides ask me, well, I spent this much money on my wedding dress, I want to wear it all night. Totally cool. I think it's an amazing idea to do a reception dress. You can dance. You're not sweating. You just and it's fun for pictures.
Yes.
Exactly. And the gowns are never that comfortable.
No, mine was so
and
heavy.
They're dragging. They're heavy. They're dragging on the floor. They're just,
And mine was strapless. I don't know. And that was 2010. It was
yes.
With a French twist and
a moment in history.
I probably would have redone my whole wedding, but we won't go there. It's fine. It's fine. My band was really good, though. The band was good.
It was very on par for 2010.
It was so on par, but there was no Instagram, though. I didn't have any ideas. They just came from my mind.
Which I wish we could go back.
I know. Gosh, I know. That's a whole other job.
I know.
Yeah. And so many people are just trying to keep up with other people. And I think a big thing is personalization. Make your wedding your own.
Yes.
And make it about experiences.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Absolutely. That is one, Well, we mainly focus on full planning. And so one of the things we do when we send out a design questionnaire is asking, like, what are your favorite things? Like, what things do you collect? What do you, it asks about their personality. And that way we can put those things into their wedding, right? So, like, we had a bride in August, like, her favorite, she loved bows. So I was like, she talked about bows. How can we put this in her wedding? And then we made a gigantic bow of flowers and put it on.
Oh, I love that.
It was at Wrightsville Manor above the thing, and that's also getting published.
Oh my gosh, that's
exciting. And then we have a bride coming up who, it's a very tropical wedding that we're doing with her, but she collects records. Her groom collects records. And like, how can we incorporate this into tropical, right? How we incorporate, and so we made it up. And so I was like, here's what we're going to do. You collect records. Let's put this in this area, And I don't want to give it away because no ideas.
I love how creative you are. I mean, to be able to pull those things together, the Lord of the Rings wedding, which I know we've talked about it, but I'm never going to get over it. So
it was awesome.
But to be able to really take these inspirations and turn them into tangible things that people walk through and they're like, it is an experience and people remember it.
Yeah.
I know you had mentioned the Bradford as far as a wedding venue outside of Wilmington area, and I'd love to share one too. And I actually was a bridesmaid at this wedding, not a photographer, but Brown Mountain Beach Resort.
Oh,
so it sounds like it would be at the beach, but it's actually in the mountains.
Hilarious.
Brown Mountain Beach Resort. But it's on a river, so they have a beach right there on the river, and people get married there. But there's a bunch of yurts, and it's a private, nice luxury yurts.
What is a yurt?
It looks like
luxury tent.
Luxury
tent. No wonder I don't know what it is.
Glamping. Yeah. So I've got the crisscross wood inside.
Oh, okay. Yes.
It had a little flag on the top, white roof,
Can you tell I can't love?
But it was really cool, and each deck had its own hot tub, and you're right on the water, and they had big bonfires, but it was this whole experience.
Yeah,
so
really
we were
cool.
there for the weekend, and we really just got to enjoy it.
I've seen this on Instagram.
Yeah,
I remember.
I have seen it because I remember being like, "Wow, that's really cool."
Yes,
okay,
cool.
I do know. Yeah,
I love the experience. I love when people give their guests an experience. I mean, that's just me, my personality too. I love a curated experience.
Yes.
But one of the things we do, that's kind of smaller, but it's still an experience, is we have a mixology bar where basically people you have a board that has, you can do, usually the way we do it is 2 columns of words of 12 different words, and you pick 2 words. So you go up, you chat with the bartender, you say, vodka is my preferred liquor. I want something fruity and fizzy. And the bartender has all these fun mixers, all these fun garnishes. I mean, they create all these simple syrups, and they create you a custom cocktail that you've likely never had before. It's fun
really
because you're also interacting with the bartender. They're chatting, chatting with you, finding out what you like seeing what kind of person you are. Sometimes people will be like, I had this drink. I was in New York City one time and had this crazy cocktail, and they will try to recreate it there with everything they have. But it's just a fun little interactive, something different than, a photo booth is great. I love a photo booth, but just something a little bit different. It doesn't have to be a crazy experience, but something just like that to have, have your guests interact a little more.
Yeah. There's so many things now. I mean, you've got, your mixology, but then there's also perfume bars that are
that's really cool. Or the hat bars, the hat bars. Yeah, so people, you can make cowboy hat, cowboy or even just trucker hats. I actually tried to get someone to come over for my daughter's birthday a couple weeks ago, but of course she was already booked. But I know. But I was like, what a great idea.
So many,
you put patches and
patches and chains.
Patches on.
Cool.
Yeah, there's so many things now that are fantastic, and it doesn't take that long. They're usually not super pricey, but
also I think that's better than some of the favors. I'm like, just don't do it.
Save your money.
Unless it's something they can literally eat on their way out at the end of the night.
And even then, no one ever takes them.
Yeah.
I take some of them when I'm like,
I mean, if it's food at the end of the night, I'm going to eat it at the end of the night.
That's all that money.
Vendors might be the only ones that are taking it.
Yes, I know. For real though.
Cut the favors out.
So
I tell my clients all the time, just cut them out.
No, I just cannot.
Cut them out.
But I will say those scratch lottery $1.
See, that's
yes,
I like
take
those.
tickets. For sure.
Yes.
You know what? I don't know. I'd be really nervous. nervous if I was a bride and I got all these people and someone won like $1 million. I would have to like, I would be like, well, if you win, you give me 50%.
You have to pay for the wedding. Whoever wins pays
Okay,
back
if you
the
win
wedding.
over $100,000, some of it has to go to you.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good idea.
Those are fun. And then I know you said photo booths, and they are, I don't want to say overdone, but a lot of people do have photo booths, but that is something someone can take home.
Yes.
Only do the photo booth that you can actually print.
Yeah,
so
print those or they get
fun.
texted. Yeah,
Yes, or you
some
can
people
text,
but
yeah.
still texting is that I like when they print so they can really
Yes,
take it.
don't have one where you have to go to a website and you have to give it something tangible or
And that's
actually
personalized, tangible,
Yes.
personalized. Same thing with the hats that you were saying.
So what was the other one that was really I felt elevated was it was like a live painter, but you go up, but none of the
portrait. Yes, we've had that a couple times.
That's what I was the other ones I was going to bring up. Is people love to have that done. They just stand up. Somebody takes a picture of them. By the end of the night, they've got a portrait of themselves.
Yes. They're like the caricature ones, like water.
No, this was just like the watercolor of like your outfits. Joe and I went to a wedding, and it was
little,
so cool.
Yeah, like a little postcard size.
Yes,
on a little. It's like usually a little canvas. It's so I think that's worth spending your money on.
And
it's something different.
That's like and something somebody can take home that like. They're going to display for a long time.
And it's something that's like affordable too, talking about budgets and realistic expectations in the wedding world. You can go as big. I mean, you could have like gymnasts and donkeys delivering drinks and I'm not even kidding.
You're sitting on your couch.
We need my drink donkey. Here we go.
There's literally drink donkeys. I'm not making this up.
I have never seen a drink donkey. I have seen actual donkeys at a wedding or llamas or something.
So what do you mean? Is it have something like?
Yes, they have like baskets that go over their back.
Oh my God! It's not personal. I haven't done a wedding with them, but I have seen.
So the sky is the
limit. People are really reaching here.
They are, but. Look, if you have the budget and you can do it, then why not? You know?
Yeah.
And if you don't have the budget, then don't do it. Don't go into debt. Don't go into debt to pay for your wedding. If you come from a successful family that they're willing to help you out. I mean, I get a lot of people are getting married later now, but some people in their early 20s, you've got student loan debt, you're just getting on your feet. It might be difficult for you to pull off, a full-blown wedding. And that's okay. You can elope. You can have something small. Don't you guys do something at the Atrium?
We do. Yeah, we do a little small ceremony. Usually you get 2 hours of time in the space. It's very reasonably priced. You can
during the week.
Just during the week. Monday through Thursday. And you can do, you could have 15. Usually we see a lot smaller, people do that. You can't obviously have a full-blown wedding.
No, but you can have like a champagne toast afterwards.
We do
and
a
little
champagne
snack.
toast. Yeah. You have your photographer come in. You have 2 hours of time. So you say you do, 15-minute ceremony. Then you can do photos throughout the whole space. Yeah. So Monday through Thursday, that's a great way to have beautiful photos, still have a beautiful moment with your family, your closest friends.
Venue.
And people. Yeah. Beautiful venue. Yeah, you can get everything, and have this really beautiful ceremony, very intimate, but you're not spending, you're not spending a fortune, if that's all you can afford, that is wonderful.
Yeah,
that is wonderful.
Weddings are so special though. And I think that's why we do spend, air quotes, a fortune on them. As a society, they are all we have left as Americans for rituals. Like, Hispanics have their quinceañeras and then like people have bar mitzvahs, right?
Yep.
We just have weddings and funerals.
That's right. Can we change that? Can we do like a midlife party? I'm looking for like a midlife celebration.
Exactly. I know.
I think there is a reason why it's such a big deal, and you're bringing two families together. And a lot of times for the parents, it's a really fun way to get. A lot of times, if your parents are helping pay for it, they want to invite some of their friends that maybe helped raise you, that are aunts and uncles by proxy, kind of because they
people are living, all over the country, all over the world. It's like one time where everyone can be together and celebrate. Exactly. And this is, touching on the topic of getting everyone together. A lot of brides get overwhelmed because they don't want to do a first look. And then it's all these pictures and this first time they're seeing them. Great at what I've seen in the past couple years, great idea of having a welcome party.
Yes.
And not even that you have to have it catered. I always say, you know what? Go meet up at Dockside and have a cocktail and have everyone just meet you there. You don't have to have this whole full-blown other event.
That's a really good point, because otherwise on your wedding day, you're going to be like, oh, hey, how are you? And have to do that whole thing.
Especially if you're having a bigger wedding. If you're having, over 100 people, you can't possibly talk to everybody and still enjoy your wedding.
And then you're spending the whole guilty, right?
Yes.
You feel like, oh my God, these people traveled. And
absolutely.
I always say, just as a guest, and I've obviously been a guest at a wedding, but the bride and groom already know that you are so happy to be there. I don't think it's necessary to be like, hey, congratulations, because when I was a bride,
no,
it was very overwhelming.
Less people you had to talk to.
I was like outside with my glass of wine, like, oh my gosh, leave me alone for 5 minutes.
I will regularly try to have the bride and groom tucked away for a moment. Even if we can like tuck them away for a private dinner. You know, nobody knows at dinner time if they're there.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. So like,
and all they're doing if they are there, they're just sitting there watching them eat.
Yeah, and I don't like people watching me.
Yes, exactly.
And that's when people come up and try to talk to them.
And then they don't actually eat.
So let's...
And they're sat at the front like kings and queens where everyone's watching.
Oh my gosh, I would not.
I love a private dinner.
Yeah, a private dinner is so nice. Meryl is really good about doing those, but I mean, it doesn't really matter what venue you're at. We can pick a place, like pick a bridal suite, like
Atrium bridal suite. We send them upstairs,
that's such a
and
nice
they can
spot.
kind of overlook guests, and but they have that moment to really like soak in the ceremony and just be together. You know,
don't
for
get
a few
any
minutes.
alone time.
Exactly.
No,
the wedding's over at 10:00 at night. The alone time's dead by the end of the night.
I just want to go home and get in the shower and go right to bed.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
We'll start our married life tomorrow.
Exactly.
They feel like that, and by the time vendors leave, I swear I get in my car and like no music's on.
Yes.
And it's just silent. I'm just like, I'm driving home in pure silence.
Pure silence.
There's always like
Yes.
an ear ringing that happens.
Yes.
So
Yes, because you're so close to the music.
Yes,
You guys
I
are
know.
like in the music.
I've gotten those loop earplugs recently.
I really need to get those.
And honestly, like most DJs are good about it. It really kind of depends on the venue and the acoustics too. But bands, I just don't get what it is about bands. Bands are so loud. I have a decibel reader.
I know
I have to make reasons to walk outside because I'm pretty sure I'm going to.
So I have a decibel reader on my phone now. And I will like tell people like
it's gonna be Brittany. She's gonna be like,
I literally, guys, it's too loud. Turn it down.
Well, I had a wedding. It was at a private residence, and it was an amazing band. I won't even drop their name because they did annoy me with how loud the music was. But they were a great band. But it was so loud that my ear at some point, and I was wearing those things, like it went like,
oh yeah, like that ringing.
It starts ringing, and I'm like, I have to do this for a living, and like all those people are wearing headphones or whatever. The performers all have like earbuds in or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have kids at your wedding. You guys are gonna be standing there. It's all fun when you're drunk, but the next day your head's gonna be like exploding.
Yeah, I know.
But I think like the reasonable sound is like 100 decibels or something like that, and that's so loud still. Like that
especially
is
when
plenty
you're
loud.
right up in there.
It's plenty
When
loud.
I can't talk, I've blown out my ears by going to so many concerts.
I know.
I'm deaf. I can't
You're already
hear you
there.
guys.
You're already
Right. Do you guys ever have bands at Atrium, or is it kind of hard to fit them in there?
It's a little bit hard to fit them in there. So we can do like in the outdoor space where the DJ normally goes. We can do a small kind of acoustic band, and also our power system outside is just not rated for the amplification that and the power that a bigger band would need, not just spatially,
I've
but
seen
power.
a band there before.
Okay, so we used to do something which I won't even go into what we used to do because we are not.
It's
no
not
longer
allowed
doing
anymore.
that.
Yeah,
It's not
you're
an
like,
option.
okay,
So
it's not
the
an
option
option
now
anymore.
for a larger band would be inside against that wooden wall.
Okay.
We remove that lounge area that's there, and you can put a stage there, and the band will be inside. I will say the acoustics inside are not super conducive to have very loud music. It reverberates off the walls a lot, so you get that intensifying wall sound. But that is an option. But I will say most of the Atrium clients, budget wise, a band is really not an option.
I mean,
for them.
what does a band run anyways, Cherish? 10, 15?
Yeah,
upwards.
yeah,
10 would be the
30.
minimum.
Depending
10
on
is usually the minimum.
Yeah, because we had a small acoustic band, and that was $4,000 alone.
Yeah, because I feel like when my parents got a band for my wedding in 2010, and they were 10 grand.
Yep.
Then,
Yep.
but it was like, the
like a
7
13-piece band.
Yeah, like it was the whole thing.
However many pieces, are in the band, the band
They're staging.
singers,
But now I feel like a
all
band
this
like
stuff.
that would be
Oh yeah.
Oh, $30,000.
$20,000, $30,000.
Everything has gone up. And I mean, a lot of people look at the wedding industry and think, oh, it's just so expensive, but they don't see all the behind the scenes things.
Exactly.
And how just expensive the cost of living has gotten for everybody. And then also the cost of running a business and having insurance and, having a website, having a website creator or, equipment. Yeah. And having all these things. So there's so much that goes into it. And then the hours of behind the scenes work. that, you know, not that we need to justify it. A lot of people do understand it, but there's just a reason why it gets to that number.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also think people don't know. I mean, that's what I get is they come in, you know, because they're usually the venue is the first stop, you know, sometimes it's planner, sometimes it's venue, but they come in and they're like, so-and-so said their price is this much or how much is this? And when I give them the pricing, they're like, wow, like they have no clue. This is their first time doing this.
And maybe mom's helping.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes. Most people, it's their first time. We know how much things cost.
Like, this is my fifth time.
I hope you're not having a large wedding.
My first 3 weddings were much cheaper than this one.
So yeah, I think realistically, people just don't know.
They don't know.
It's our job to educate them.
Yeah,
on
for
what
sure.
Well, it
things
has
cost.
changed. I mean, look from 2010.
Oh,
And a lot of these brides are having their moms are helping them, right?
Yes.
So that would be people that were getting married in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, and
Totally different.
Totally different.
Right here.
Yeah.
You know, and I will have that, you know, sometimes I'll be like, wow, my sister got married, you know, 5 years ago, and I didn't realize. And I was like, yeah, things have changed from 5 years.
Yep.
And some people will, you know, in my inquiry form, they put in their budget, and we do talk about that. Nobody wants to really talk about budget, but we have to have that honest conversation.
Yeah, because like, where are you going to put it?
Where are you comfortable?
And some people say, well, I know I put in, you know, this budget, but I just didn't know what to put. So now that we've had that conversation, I understand now I need to make it bigger. And that's our job, right?
Yes.
Is to be like, okay, and if this is it, if this is your line, you can't go above that, then we need to talk about what that is actually going to look like before you hire me.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Before you hire me, you need to make it look like, you know, how can we do this? What does this look like? And I will say, you know, if you have a smaller number in your guest count, say you're under 50 in your guest count, and you want a luxury, you can actually do that for under $100,000 if you've only got 50 people.
Yeah.
Hence the Lord of the Rings wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
With less people, you can elevate
Less
more.
people, you can elevate more.
So
you
what
know?
are luxury elements? Let's talk about luxury elements. I mean, obviously that scales with guest count, but like fancy chargers, the drapery, obviously vendors, bigger vendors, like if you're going to have florals,
flowers, floral installations, big installations.
Big installations, specialty linens, you know,
The
upgraded chairs,
lounges,
specialty rentals,
the experiences that we've been talking about.
The drink donkeys.
Drink donkeys.
Yes, drink donkeys, sure.
Find those.
Yeah, oyster shucking.
Yes.
Oyster having
those kinds of things. You know, your specialty bar drinks, maybe even like your display for, you know, food. Really, though, if you're talking about luxury, it's a plated dinner. That's just the reality. You can't get past it. You can't say luxury
and then have a buffet.
Yes.
Like it doesn't go together.
So, but people that say are more in the mid-range, they could have luxury elements.
They
still.
could have luxury elements.
And have
to
a
it.
modern twist, or just add some things that make it feel elevated while also cutting costs other ways, which is where you come in as their planner to break down the budget and go, okay, you want luxury, you've got a champagne taste and a beer budget. You know, and this is what we can do for that. You know, we're not going to get sunflowers and mason jars. We're going to do X, Y, Z.
That was very
We're going to go buy the mason instead.
Remember the mason jars? Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Lindsay just like knows me.
I was like, oh my gosh, the mason
remember
jars.
those
Yes,
days.
me too.
We do now have a limit for florals just because of that.
But you just don't want, you know, and I have seen people do a great job being, as far as floral arrangements, when they don't want to spend the money, but making it really organic looking and that really just
or even
stem
kind of
flowers
that
all the way down. Wildflower, I love that. I
Just
really
a bud
like
vase
that.
with
Bud
a single
vases.
stem.
But a lot of them, just so it sort of adds, but I think that's really pretty.
That's a great
And just
budget.
And same thing with like candles. I feel like candles elevate a space. They're not super expensive.
Yes, they are.
Okay, just I am not a planner.
Photographers know about candles.
I'm not a planner.
Yeah, it's like, why we don't do candles right here, guys?
Candles are absolutely a wonderful thing, but don't look at, like we just did, I don't know if you've seen on our Instagram, it was all candles. That's all she had.
Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah.
That was not cheaper than flowers.
No,
Wow.
tons, because you have to put so many candles to get that
Yeah,
look.
that's what I'm saying.
And really, she could have used more, but that was about 250 candles. Okay, so just to give you an estimate of how many
and
candles
they're $2 or $3
and
a
then you
piece
have
or
to
something.
Like
I've helped do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and you have to light them all,
Yeah.
and they're at least $5 a candle because we've got to replace, especially the taper candles. We have to replace every single time.
Oh, yeah.
We typically use the wax candles, which are pricey to begin with, but they're better for everything. So we have to replace the wicks, and then of course there's the cleaning of the jars and all the things that come with
there's
it.
a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
there's a lot that
To make
actually
it look
comes with
that elegant.
candles.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the same
That
thing with
actually comes
florals too. People are like, oh, well, the flowers cost this much. No, the flowers cost that, but also so does cleaning out the
Cleaning the
vases, so
buckets
does the
and the
foam, so does the
processing.
box, those cage things you have to put them around,
Yeah.
and then doing the installs. I mean, you need ladders, you need people like.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a lot.
Usually you
It's
need
very
all kinds of
intricate.
rigging too.
Yes,
You need to
rigging.
rig a cabling
We-
system.
Yeah, we hire
those are
people to
intense.
rig
Yes.
our installations because
like the lighting
not
and
gonna
sound
do it.
people.
Yes.
or
yeah,
something?
Yeah.
Cool.
yep. I talked to them. Okay, this is how much it's going to rig to do, to do this rigging. We even had, I talked to a welder. I had a welder build me, an installation. I had to talk to high performance lighting. They rigged it. It's just.
It's a process.
It's a whole
Oh, yeah.
process.
Yeah.
And not to mention how long it takes to put together the flower proposal, because now I'm looking at, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put together like a digital mock-up and put that in there. And, what kind of flowers am I using? We have to make sure that, okay, so maybe you only need 5 hydrangeas in this, but I have to order 10.
Yeah.
Because
Some of them
what-
might
and
be
what
dead.
is-
Yeah.
And what is seasonally available,
Yep.
and how does that affect
Exactly.
the pricing
Yep.
too?
Exactly.
Because seasonally they might be cheaper at certain times, right?
True. Especially, women will say, I love peonies. Okay, well, it is.
Getting married
Oh,
in
yes.
January.
You're like, sorry.
It's $28 per
Yes,
step.
$28 a stem.
Yeah.
I know. That's
Yeah.
So-
it can get really expensive.
I love them too. But
Yeah,
I can't
I
afford
also
them.
love them, but
I guess I'm gonna do daisies now because that's here we are.
Do a lot of people come to you and just say like, "This is my color scheme," then, or do some people
I
they're
do
like,
suggest
"I
that.
need this flower"?
I do suggest coming to me with this color scheme
Mhm.
and, trusting that I'm going to, like, if you look at my Instagram, if you go to my website and you see what style I do, then you're coming to me because you trust my design process.
Mhm.
Period. End of
Precisely.
story,
And if you guys fit,
You're
right?
not
That's
here to
right.
sell
That's another-
people on yourself. Come to me.
Right.
You've read the reviews. You've either worked with
seen
somebody.
it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick the flowers that are going to best go with your theme. Now, all that to say, if there's a flower that you love, I want to know that. I
Mhm.
want to know what flowers you love. I also want to know what flowers you hate.
Yeah.
So I don't use them.
Yeah, you're like, don't wanna do that.
Not use those ones.
But Grandma loved dahlias. You'll throw a dahlia or two in her bouquet or something.
If they're in season. And that's the thing. Like, okay, so I see you love this.
Mhm.
Okay, if it's in season and I can get it, I will get it. Or I'll say, okay, I see that you love this. This is a pricey flower.
Mhm.
I can, maybe just put it in your bouquet,
Mhm.
in your bridesmaids bouquets, but do you really want this flower throughout your entire event?
Right.
Some want it, some don't,
Mhm.
Yeah, so it just
But
depends. And I
it
feel like
depends.
it's like, just like you said when you first talk to these brides and
Yeah.
couples in general, some grooms get in there on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the console.
Some have
Some
opinions.
are like, oh, we don't care.
Yeah.
Just let us know when it is.
Exactly.
But really just seeing where they want to spend their money, right?
Right.
Some people are like, hey, I want it to be all decor. Hey, no, I want the best band with an open bar
Mhm.
forever. I
Yeah.
mean, they just have to place it. And sometimes you have to not choose one or the other, but know
Prioritize.
Yes,
which
that
one
is
means
it.
the
Yep.
most
I
to
would
you,
make
you
a
know?
list. I would
Exactly.
make your list of priorities.
Like, here's my top 3,
Yep.
and
Yep.
this is where we can cut
This is
down
where
here.
we're putting our budget mainly. Everywhere
Exactly.
else, you can cut from.
Top 3.
And then if you have vendors that you really want to work with, you've seen Cherish's stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love it here. You've seen the Atrium, I love it here. Lindsay, you are the only photographer I want. You need to book ahead of time and check in with those people because,
Absolutely.
like we said, like we are booking 2027. You probably
Yes.
maybe have inquiries for 2028, And
Yeah.
so, no,
I won't do
I
that.
have inquiries, but I turn them
But
in
you
much
know,
like not to me.
But
Yeah.
people do plan that far out.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy to me sometimes. Like 2 years.
I think there are venues that
Venues
are
do,
out.
for sure.
Yeah, not Atrium.
Well,
not
Wrightsville
Atrium.
Manor for sure. Is,
Yes.
I'm sure they
100%.
probably,
Yeah.
people,
But there's just not a ton of big venues like that are really beautiful in Wilmington.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like there's
You know?
not. Well, there's really, as far as when you go in, there is such natural light,
Yeah.
right? You have all those windows, but I think what people love about it is you get the greenery plus the indoor space if it rains,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then it's sort of a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
You
know,
can
it's
put
like,
your
oh,
touch on it.
yeah,
however you
and
And
want.
it's,
already-
and it's right by the beach. So there are really nice, beautiful venues just right outside of Wilmington, like Malachi Meadows, Slate and Cypress. They're a little bit more of a drive, but like in the heart of Wilmington,
Yep.
Where else do we have that's like
that are that big that can hold that
big
that
and
are
like
country clubs that are private.
A lot of privates.
I guess bakery, but it's kind of darker in there.
Yeah,
you know?
And it depends what, as I said, what look people are. But you can still go downtown. But it just is all the vibes, right?
Yeah, the beach. If people want the beach and they're like, I want my guests to have that beach vacation experience. They want to stay on Wrightsville Beach. Wrightsville Manor is the place.
Yeah. There's another decent option, but it is like aesthetically, you do feel like you're in a hotel conference room because you are, is Shell Island. Mm-hmm. But it is, you can have all your people stay in one place.
Or Lumina is a great option too.
Lumina.
And they do have that greenery area. That's the one that you shot for me for my friend.
Caroline.
Caroline.
That
was really fun. I was a bridesmaid.
Oh,
not really a bridesmaid. I guess that was another thing to touch back on. Instead of having 5 million bridesmaids, she's like, hey, all of my good girlfriends, I just want you to wear a shade of blue.
Yes, I love that.
And that was cool.
So everyone photographed so nicely too.
It really did. I was actually really impressed. Yeah. Well, of course with you, but I'm just saying. I had no idea. But as far as like the Lumina, just even indoor shots is they're sort of fun there. And then you have the walkway, you have the beach, you have the green. You sort of have a lot of options.
Their space but again, in a hotel, you are going to feel like a little conference room.
Right. Yeah. We have the reception spaces like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Sir Tyler's kind of like that too?
I haven't shot there in years.
I haven't been there. I mean, probably like 9 years.
Yeah.
Like years. It's been. Do they still do weddings?
I don't know. What other?
Cut that one. I'm like,
nobody knows anything.
They're out of business. No, but as far as other venues in town, because we did kind of touch on that, where are a couple other places that you have loved to work that are nearby that you just.
It depends also too. Downtown, I feel like it has just a totally
different vibe. And every venue downtown is so different.
So different. I
tell people that come to the Atrium, and they're like, well, this is not my vibe. I want, which first of all, why are you coming if this is not your vibe? Or, they get in there and they're like, oh, I'm worried about rain or whatever the reason. I send them to the Elia. If they want something a little more elevated, they want
the bar's
more of the bar's beautiful. If they want more of a luxury feel and they are super worried about rain, I send them there. I am very much like, there is room for all of us.
That's what I said.
There's so much business to go around.
That's what I was going to say, and I'm glad you brought that up. And it's kind of a nice way to round out the end of our chat here.
Already done?
I know. I could talk for hours. We gotta keep going, but it's just the community over competition. And like, you girls are so my people. And I was talking to someone just the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you're bringing another photographer." I'm like, "Yeah, but we're community. Like, God forbid I am sick one day, I wake up, you would be the first person that I would call,
and I would be there,
and you would be there. You know what I mean? And same thing with there was
the wall falling down.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to bring it up, but
that's a whole other podcast.
That's
we had a terrible situation happen at the venue. One of our main ceremony walls came down on the day that we had a wedding.
Not due to anything that you guys did, but there was construction nearby and the tractor hit it or something, right?
They blew off the roof of the building. They were tearing down behind us and did not brace the walls properly, and 3 walls collapsed
on the day of the wedding.
This happened several days before. We were able to brace the wall. The city inspector said, you can go forth with the wedding. Music has to go inside. Dancing has to go inside because any vibration on the wall could be
and then
catastrophic.
They cut you the day of.
1:00 on the day of the wedding. Bride was upstairs getting ready. Everything was set up. The city inspector came in and said, I have to shut you down. The wall has separated so much from the top that if it comes down, which it looks like it's going to, this could
Which thank God that an accident was avoided.
Yes, but within 4 hours of the ceremony, we had to completely redo the entire wedding elsewhere at Brooklyn Arts Center. Luckily, they were open, but every vendor, every person we knew,
was filling their car with linens.
They rallied. That's why community is so important. And the aftermath of that was us having to move 6 weddings. To other venues or postpone. And everybody, the LA was one of them, Bakery was one of them, were so generous. And because we had to take the cost of everything. We had to bear the brunt of that. And they were so generous with us. So having community is so important because you have to rely on your friends. And when you need me to be there for you, I'll be there for you. And I know vice versa. Everybody would do the same.
Because you want to make it as special, and because when we commit to a bride, we're wanting it to make that day the best day of the night. But people also have to understand we're humans too. Like, and stuff happens,
things happen,
but we are going to always make make sure that you're taken care of.
Yep.
We have friends and community and other vendors that always come in and help each other out, and that's just incredibly important.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if everyone in the industry has that. I know we do.
Yeah.
I know we do. But it's a give and a take, and there is a little bit of a click in the Wilmington wedding industry that I've noticed anyway. There's just, not everybody.
There's people that kind of gravitate towards their group.
Yes. And maybe it's more like photographers, but there in any industry that you're in, people will, not everybody, but some people will try and step on others to get to the top instead of just rising on their own.
That will come back around.
It will come.
I
mean,
look at
Laura's
smile. Not that I've ever done anything vindictive. No, I haven't. But really, I feel like if you spread the love, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
If we, are reaching out and telling people, oh, you should really go with this person. And, if you're making it more of like a, like I said, spreading the love, it's going to always come back around.
Yeah.
There's no need. There is plenty of weddings to go around in this area.
100%.
We are a destination and people want to get married here.
Well, even with us planners, I mean, for sure, like some of the planners have recommended me. I've recommended other planners. Or maybe I even have a question. I can, hey, ladies, does anybody, have any information about this? Or, vice versa. I mean, you have to be there for each other because you just can't survive.
Or even someone to bounce texts back and forth to, like, is this crazy or
am I crazy?
I'll
be like, did this guy contact you? Do not work with her.
I know.
Planners, we have done that. It's better than nobody booked this wedding.
We've had some crazies come along and we've had to
we're not magicians. We're just, in the wedding industry. But
that's true. We've got each other's backs, and that's what's important.
And always coming back to setting expectations, right? I mean,
we all come together. Okay, what is the minimum price? We all need to be together.
We
all need to be
absolutely.
Well, and that's where I see a lot of the competition mindset versus the community mindset is people that are maybe just starting out and they're hungry. And when you're hungry and you know what I mean? And that you lower your prices and or you're, maybe being like, oh, don't book that person XYZ because you're trying to, I don't know. You know what I mean? But as you get...
It's a bad way to get into a community and get your career started. Yeah, I get it. My advice to them would be, which I've had a lot of smaller planners you got to start somewhere. Everybody started somewhere. But is to, price yourself at your value, your experience, and also get in with a venue and say, hey, I'm starting out. Like, if I bring a client, can I do a wedding here? And I am all for that. I mean, yes, we have a preferred vendor list, but if the time is right and it seems like this person is a good fit and seems like they'll do a good job, I will absolutely give somebody a shot.
But but it is important to have, and the reason why you have a preferred vendors list, and the reason why it is so nice to work with people that you've worked with before is that you can anticipate and it's going to run smoothly.
Absolutely. Right.
If you just let anyone come in, you could be liable because this person's going to make a decision that's going to potentially put your venue at risk
100%.
or the client at risk. So that's why people do those.
Yes,
I mean, it's not like we're just trying to be like, you have to hire our friends.
That's right.
Sorry about your life.
These people are no one.
But I think it's, a healthy way to do business and that you're giving the best service that you can provide to the client and then also encouraging them to, work with somebody that is going to provide their service.
Exactly. I totally agree.
So.
On a total, it just popped up on a planner's side. What are you looking as far as trending for videography? Because now content creation is getting so much bigger. Yeah. So obviously we offer both, husband and wife, we do both. And we do give a little bit of a discount if you bundle together because we get to go somewhere at the same time. And, but, people are like, oh, you know what? Someone will just be there with the iPhone, which is totally fine. I think content but as I said, are you going to look at your iPhone? What if the iPhones don't even exist anymore? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just
I think content creation there is a lot of that going around. People want that content.
It's very trending right now.
Very trending right now. I don't know how long it'll last, but right now it is trending. And then people are still loving the short, highlights, if you will. The highlights. I don't think those are necessarily going away.
I love that,
anytime
the 3 to 5 minute
highlights. And that's what our main highlights. Yeah.
And they're more cinematic. And I think that's it comes down to maybe budget and people that maybe have a higher end budget I've seen do both.
Totally.
Yeah. And then maybe if someone is like, gosh, I love videography, but I really can't afford it. And it does cost money because videography is a ton of work. I used to do videography in addition to photography and I quit videography because I was like,
I love my husband.
I remember when you told me I'm not doing video anymore.
I'm not telling anybody I do that anymore because you've got
your audio,
you have your audio, you have a ton of equipment and it's okay, when you're taking a photo, you can take the photo. If you need to crop it, you can. In a video, you then have to zoom it in. If you have to crop it, you need to get everything right the first time in video. And I feel like a lot of men do video, not to say women can't, but men are so technically savvy that like video almost
Joe loves it.
appeals.
I let him do that. I'm like, do you need me to move this camera over? And, I can film it through the camera, but as far as post-production, all that stuff, audio, I'm like,
You have way more gear with you. I mean, seriously,
I don't want to do it.
Videography, you get paid less for videography on average than photography, and you have more gear and more work to do.
Yeah.
But you also, on the day of, you get to take a little bit more of a backseat.
Well, because you don't need, there's only, but so this is what I always tell my brides too, when people are like, well, I want you guys there till the end. I said, but think about this, guys. Yeah. How much footage can we really take of just people dancing at the reception?
Yes.
It's not going to be 3 hours.
And hours, yes.
You're like, you're not going to want that. So
the same guy doing the same
thing.
moves.
The worm. Over and over again.
Yes, except this time he has no tie on.
Yeah,
he has a shirt on.
And he's got the
You might not want the end film, okay, guys?
Exactly.
But that's what I always tell people. And even for photography, too, I feel like when we were talking about timelines and stuff like that, brides get really just fixated, like, well, I want you there to the end. Well, hey, you can add on the extra time. Because usually if it's a 7 to 8 hour package, you might have to add on an hour. Or depending if you're doing a first look, that depends on that. But I always say mock exits. I don't like them.
Absolutely not.
No,
it kills the vibe.
Yes.
It kills the vibe.
If you have to cut, if you're, say, within budget, and you're like, I only have 7 to 8 hours with this photographer, maybe off the front, like, how much getting ready coverage do you need? Let's talk about that. Because,
I always say the best time to start 30 minutes before your makeup and hair is finished. Start with the details, and that's all. You're not. What do you want? Me getting your foundation on? Probably not. Probably not.
You can get a quick PJ pick. You can get a champagne popping pick.
But I feel like people are,
picks, and you're good.
because people are cutting out bridal party, they're doing less of the robe pictures and stuff. And I'm really loving that a lot of more people are doing first looks now. I feel like almost every wedding that I've been doing has a first look, and I think it's actually really cool because you get to have that moment with your spouse beforehand. Otherwise, you walk down the aisle and you're like,
you get the jitters out. I mean, because I see people that are so anxious. They're like, I don't. And then they do the first look, and they're like, okay, good. Now I feel good.
Well, that's and look, I've only had one bride really say, no, absolutely not. I want to have that moment. But I've never seen a moment of a bride walking down the aisle that's been ruined because of a first look.
No,
it's
absolutely.
just never
going to still is exciting.
I said, if you have something extra, like do the first look in your dress. Obviously, you're not going to have your flowers with you because that would be awkward trying to like hug them with your flowers. And then I said, if you have a veil, just add on the veil before you walk down the aisle. And it's a new
different scene.
Exactly. I'm like, there you go.
Which, the whole idea of not seeing a bride before the wedding like goes back to like what, the 1600s?
Yeah,
like you wouldn't see your wife beforehand. She came out with like a cover on
over her face.
I did have a blusher at my wedding. I was like, anyway.
So it's 2026. You probably live with them.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So
things have changed a lot.
Going back to what you had said, like make it your own wedding. Don't listen to what all these other people are saying. Sometimes grooms, though, that is the one thing that like they will
stick.
They get
pushback. Yes, I get a lot of pushback on it. And they're like, nope, absolutely no first look. And I'm like, oh.
Well, I said, but they're like, okay, no first look, but I want to. This is how many family pictures I had, and then we need to do all the bridal party, and then the couple's portraits. And by the way, I want to still join.
Oh, the sunset.
Hour.
And then sunset also is 20 minutes after our ceremony. Can you get all this done? Like, I'm not a miracle worker.
I was like, that doesn't. I can't make the sunset. Yes, unfortunately. I wish I could, but
expectations.
Really cool. Pause sunset. Pause sunset. Don't worry, son. We'll be with you in a second.
The superpower that we choose as photographers, right?
Yes. I know. Yeah, it's just they just expectation, but it's. The first look, I really don't see very many times doing it. More people, I think almost everyone should do it.
Yeah.
You get more time with your soon-to-be spouse. Yeah. You spend all this money and you don't get to see them till late, like the evening.
Well, and what you said is like the first time I've had it, heard it that way is that I've never seen a first look ruin,
ever.
The reaction.
They're still, and look, let's just be real. A lot of brides want their husband to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, do I see it? For sure.
And sometimes they just
and I would say 30%. And then they're like this, and they're like, and then everyone's staring, and I'm like, what's your reaction? But my husband did cry.
Oh,
Yeah, so Joe, he cried. I was like, you're grimacing. Are you sad or happy?
Which one?
It's been 15 years. I guess he's happy enough, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this has been so much fun, you guys. I feel like we could
A lot of
honestly
fun.
talk forever. And
I
I
really
really told
could.
you, like, Lindsay's gonna be great. I
Yeah.
was really
A little
excited.
added.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It was so
fun.
fun.
And we
Yes,
all have
for
like
sure.
things we have to do and getting ready
Yes.
for busy season.
So
So
gosh, I know.
Speaking of all the behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff,
Let's get back to it.
back to it as we go.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Brett.
Yes. Awesome.